Welcome to FlannelGraph. This is a little app where you can go ahead and make your own kind of old style flannel graph where you move the characters kind of across the scene and tell a story. So this is just a quick way to do that and a little website that I created. And so what you're going to do to get started, you're going to go ahead and create a login and username and password. You're then going to be prompted to create an organization, which is simply where you're going to keep your projects, which is the demo. And you can share those with others and share your workspace with others. So let's go ahead and hit new project. I'm going to give it a title. We'll call it demo number 1. You can give it a description if you want. You don't have to. And then you have all these aspect ratios that you can choose, different kinds of whether you want vertical or whether you want a widescreen. We're just going to go ahead and go with the widescreen for now. And then you can choose an art style. And what this is going to do is it's going to give, as you create different pieces to animate, this will kind of determine what the art style is for this. So let's go with your classic kind of flannel / felt cutout. You can hit create. And that will take us here to our project page. And here in the middle, you have a general spot where you're going to be editing. And down here at the bottom, you have your timeline, which is where all of the things that you're going to put into your scene live. So we're going to start the scene. We have no background. So let's go ahead and get a background. We don't have any images right now. We can go over, there's this community library where you can go and grab things. So if you want to click on the community library and pull things into your particular, your org, you can do that. So you can see other things that other people have done. So what we're going to do is generate, and let's do a main street of a small town. And we can choose if you want to change our style, you can. It's going to default to whatever your project is, and you're going to click go. Now, if you wanted to, you can upload your own. So if you wanted to go and generate images with something else, you can go ahead and do that, and then upload those, and they would go in there. Or if you just wanted to color it just a solid color. Now, this does have to be the same size as whatever your background is. So this is automatically going to come out as 16 by 9. So here's our little town. Now, it doesn't always come out exactly like you want. I mean, it's a little bit 3D, but we can still have some characters kind of doing some things in front. We probably want to give a little more specific prompt if we want it to be like perfect. So let's go ahead and add a character or two. So let's do this, and let's add a dog. So we're just going to add a dog. And if you want to capitalize these things, you can. These do become the titles of those. So if it says nothing's found, you can just automatically pop over to generate. It'll bring it there, and boom, we can build our dog. And we'll see if we can then do some animation here. So it'll generate that image and then automatically do this. Now, the same way with the images as you can with the backgrounds, you can go ahead and upload things as well. So you can go ahead and hit that upload button. And then once you've created things, they'll obviously be in your library. So here's a little dog, right? So we have a little dog, and you can just scale the dog like this and do whatever you'd like to. Now, what's happening is down here, it's creating keyframes. And the keyframes are basically the animation stop points where it's going to say, hey, move to here, move to here, move to here. So all we have to do to animate is say, okay, well, at 2 seconds, I want to move the dog over here to the middle. And now I can literally just hit this rewind button and press the play button or the space bar, and it will just move the dog. It's kind of cool. Now, we might want to make it more interesting. So let's go back to the beginning. And whenever you select an object, like here, we're selecting nothing, so you can just see the background. You can change the duration. Let's shorten that up just a little bit. Let's only make it like a 10-second scene so you can see this changes here. You can zoom in and out just by using these to be able to zoom in and out your timeline. And what we can do here is we can say, okay, we want the dog to move here, but we want to have that kind of classic kind of little wobble. And so what we're going to do is when we click on the dog, it actually selects our first keyframe. And if we were here, there is no keyframe. And what we'd have to do is either move the dog and then it'll automatically create one, or we can click this and it will create a keyframe right at that point. The other options, you can actually duplicate your keyframe by clicking on this button up here, and it'll create a copy of it right next to it that has all the same characteristics. So as you look at this keyframe, we can see here that we're setting the X and Y position, we're setting the scale, and we're setting the rotation. And the checkbox here shows that when we hit that keyframe, those things are going to be set. And so if they're not set, then if they're not checked, then it's not going to set those things. But what we can do is we can set an animation. Let's use a little sway animation here. And when we press spacebar, we can see that the dog kind of sways back and forth a little bit. You can kind of see now, look, as he sits there, he kind of has that nice little swaying animation. And 2 seconds feels a little bit fast. So let's just go ahead and drag that over there. And we're going to make this sway amount a little bit more on that particular keyframe. So let's go ahead and we'll let that play to the end. It'll just repeat. And so now it comes back, and now you can see that dog swaying just a little bit more, and we can even take that and speed it up just a little bit if we want him to sway a bit more than that. So let's rewind, and So you can kind of see now you're getting that look. And if we wanted to change it to something else, we could change it to Bob, and you can rewind and play. And now you can kind of see how you get a little different animation. So let's go ahead and add someone else to the scene. So let's put a image on here in just a second. And there we go. There's the little girl. And right here, and you see kind of the same style. The style is kind of the same. Now, if you wanted to zoom in to be able to see this a little better, you can just hold down the wheel, or hold down Control and use your wheel, or pinch and zoom if you have a laptop that supports it. And what you can see here is I'm at this play point right here, and it started the girl up here, and now it's down here. So now she's down there. So if I move this back, you can see that she's moved. So if I want to edit the girl's initial position, I have to run this all the way back to the front, or I can just click on her keyframe, and now I can move her over here. Let's say we want to have her over here, want to have her run, or we're going to meet in the middle. Maybe the girl's going to be maybe here, and then we can just go ahead and we'll add a little bit. We want to select this first keyframe, choose the animation of drift, and let's see what that looks like. Hit the space bar, and there they're running together. And now they're just going to kind of stand there and hang out. So now what we can do is we can actually add some text. We come up here, click text, and let's actually run to the beginning. And we're going to do a speech bubble, and we're going to have the girl call out to the dog. And so the speech bubble can kind of sit anywhere, and these can be a lot of different things, not just a particular kind of speech bubble. So here we go. If we want to, we're looking at this keyframe here that we just made for this, that's determining where it is. But if you want to go back and actually look at the actual object, we can just click here, and this is going to take us back. And this will show us our initial text, the speech bubble, and then what it's attached to. And so because we have the girl selected, this speech bubble is now attached to the girl and will stay where the girl is, and this little arrow will always point to the girl. You can adjust some anchors and offsets. This is just where this is going to be for the duration of this scene. So now if we go back to our keyframe, which all we have to do is click on the keyframe right here. There we go. So here's the keyframe, and we can then determine, and I guess maybe that was on there before. You can determine what time it is. So what we're going to do is we're not going to have it show up right away. We're going to actually let it start. So we're going to say it's not visible. So we're going to turn off the visibility initially. We're then going to roll it forward like 1 second, and then we're going to create a new keyframe, which we can just double click here, and we're now going to make it visible. And so now you can see the and then what it will do is it'll fade in as you go across this. And we're going to have the text be Fido! Exclamation point. And then what we'll do is right here, we will then make another keyframe and turn off that text. So we'll go like this. So now let's go ahead and rewind this. Let's do that and play. And there we have the little animation of the dog and the girl. And so we can do the same thing, adding different things. Now you can see that when I drag this girl here, she's in front of the dog. Now, if I wanted to change that, all I have to do is just drag this, and now the dog's in front. And so you can really easily change the order of things. And you can make super complicated scenes by just the way that you arrange all of these things. Now, there's a lot of other options. Like when you look at this girl, for example, there's these different kind of movements where you can make it either linear or where they kind of speed up and then slow down. And then you can do kind of a stop motion, which kind of gives you that look of dot, 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 dot. And then you have kind of a wobbly smooth, and there's some options for that. You can do rotation. There's a lot of different things that you can do in order to make the type of animation that you're exactly looking for. So at the end of the day, we want to go ahead and export this. And so we can go ahead and click this export button. That's going to bring up a way to export it as an MP4 file. You can just go ahead and click. It's going to take a little bit of time to go ahead and do that, but then you can download your video. And you can also make additional scenes. So here I can actually add more scenes that maybe are going to be kind of in the same vein. And then you can export each scene, put those together. Eventually, we'll probably make a way to export the entire thing. So, but that's the basics of how you use FlannelGraph.